Good morning, everyone. Zidster here. And here we are with another day of Final Fantasy XIV Dungeons for Dummies. I am here at Bent Branch Meadows again. This time we are going Dark Knight. Yepers. Dark Knight, my favorite. Okay. So, to start, first off, we need our buddy and pal. Oh, yes! Famous! Mikleo. Yeah, he likes to ignore me quite often. Okay. To start with, let's see here. One of my viewers recommended that for my actions and traits, to show them off, to change the view. So we're going to use the view, compact view. This way I don't make the boo-boo that I made on Warrior. I don't know how well this is going to work, but we're going to do this. Personally, I'm not sure if this is going to work the way we want it to, but we're going to give it a go. Alright, to start with, at level 1, we have Hard Slash. Hard Slash delivers an attack with a potency of 170. Followed up with a combo action at level 2, Siphon Strike. Delivers an attack with a potency of 120. Combo action Hard Slash. Combo potency 260. Combo bonus restores MP, which for Dark Knights, oh, definitely need. And for the third, Soul Eater. This is also a very good one. Delivers an attack with a potency of 120. Combo action Siphon Strike. Combo potency 340. Combo bonus restores own HP. Definitely needed. Cure potency 300. Combo bonus increases blood gauge. Now we'll get to the blood gauge again in a little bit. Now, Dark Knights, they will take a lot of damage. To begin with, they used to be called squishy. They're not so squishy now, but yes, they used to be. Now this combo here that you're seeing, this combo is your single enemy aggro move, or shall we say early dungeon aggro move, because early dungeon you didn't get too many AoEs, other than Unleash. But anyway, we're going to show this one off, and we're going to use a striking dummy, and I think I'm going to stick to this dude, because Mikleo is just a pain in the butt. But anyway, here we go. There's Hard Slash, Siphon Strike, Soul Eater. And he did it again. He messed with another striking dummy. Mikleo, stop it. Hey. Mikleo? Okay. Anyhow, let's go back. Actions and traits. We're back here. Now, we did our single enemy combo. Now we're going to do our combos. I guess they call it combo spells. I call it the AoE aggroing abilities. We have at level 6, Unleash. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 120 to all nearby enemies. Now you get this one pretty early on, so you'll have this one. It's very useful. These are necessities to have on your hotbars. Next, this goes in conjunction with Unleash. However, you do not get this one until level 40. This is Stalwart Soul. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 100. to all nearby enemies. Action, combo action unleash. Combo potency 140. Combo bonus restores MP. And combo bonus increases blood gauge by 20. Again, we will get to the blood gauge in a bit, because at this early stage you really don't have a blood gauge. So we're going to start with those. And of course, because McLeo's decided to do that, we'll go over here. Now, this is for multiple enemies. You'll notice I've gotten both striking dummies. And if you'll notice, when I use Unleash, Stalwart Soul lights up. So you know that that's what you're supposed to have. Okay. So now we're going to reset striking dummy. Welcome, viewer. If you have any questions about or comments, this will be on YouTube later. It's not easy for me to see my comments at this point. Anyway, moving on. Actions and traits. Now, we've dealt with the single enemy combos, the multi-enemy combos. Now we're going to do what's known as weapon skills. Now, these two are good to have on your hotbar. These are massive damage dealers. And later on, they will have a nice combination with an ability down here. However, to start with, we've only got these. Now, these are in conjunction with your blood gauge, which means at level 60, you get your blood gauge. So let me show you the blood gauge. This is the blood gauge, right up here. Now, mind you, you can move it anywhere you want. You can make it big, you can make it little, but anyway, this is the blood gauge. You don't get this little guy till later. Anyway, this blood gauge fills up as you do your combos. This gives you the ability of using your weapon skills. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just attack this guy. And I'm going to finish filling that gauge up. Alright, now I have over here, if you'll notice, lit up Blood Spiller, and I'm pretty sure that's Quietus. I may be butchering that name, but we'll see. I'm going to show you Blood Spiller is a single enemy attack. It eats up half of your bar. Now, Quietus is a multi-enemy hit. And that ate up the rest of my bar. This is why I only use those at low levels when I'm up against the boss. I don't usually use it against, I don't use Quietus against multiple enemies because, personally speaking, until you get Delirium, Quietus is not really useful. Leo. Leave the striking dummy alone, please. Okay. Now, let's see. Actions and traits. Now, we have those. Now I'm going to say what they do. Delivers an attack with a potency of 500. Blood gauge cost is 50. And that's for Blood Spiller. Quietus delivers an attack with a potency of 200 to all nearby enemies. Blood gauge cost is 50. Now, moving down here, we have Unmend at level 15. Now, this, because you don't have a jump-in ability until later, this is your jump-in ability. Sorry. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 150. Additional effect, increases enmity. Excuse me. Additional effect, reduces the recast time of plunge by 5 seconds. Now, plunge, you're not going to get until much later. That's level 54. But at level 15, you have unmend. This would be the equivalent of tomahawk for warrior and shield lob for paladin. So let's target our little dummy here. Let's see how far back we can go. Here we go. That's as far back as you can go. And say you see your enemy way over there. Okay, so we're going to use unmend and start running towards our enemy. This also makes it great, say that you're in a fight with a boss or enemies and you want to do damage from a distance. Unmend is a great way to do it. I'm going to get my my blood gauge up there again, because I'm sure I'm going to be using it at some point again here rather shortly. And since I'd already gotten it started, might as well finish. Alright, resetting striking dummy. Alright. Now, moving on. Next we have grit. Again, this is a tank stance. Must go on a spot on your hotbar that you will not accidentally turn it off. Especially if you're in dungeons and you are the only tank. Now, in raids, I still leave my tank stance on, even if I have a secondary tank, because there are times I need to pick up the aggro. And it makes it a whole lot faster and easier if I already have it on. I just don't hit provoke, because if the other tank wants aggro, they can have it. I have so many times where tanks try to argue over who gets the aggro. I don't care. I'm in there to do my job. If a tank goes down, I'll use provoke and pop. I have the aggro. So I am going to use this, and I'm also going to say what it does. Significantly increases enmity generation. Effect ends upon reuse. So here we go. See, I have it on my secondary hotbar, so I don't make a boo-boo. So I'm going to turn that on. I do like what they've done here where it changes the picture. So you have less likely chance of doing it, but I still put it on my second hotbar because, well, just reasons. Anyway. Moving on. Next is Blood Weapon at level 35. Now, this is a wonderful thing. Unlike Warrior, unlike Paladin, and unlike Gunbreaker, Dark Knights have this lovely ability called Blood Weapon. And this will fill up your blood gauge way faster. And I will show you how that works in just a minute. But let's go and look at what it does. Grants 5 stacks of Blood Weapon. Each stack increasing blood gauge by 10 and restoring MP upon landing weapon skill or spells. Duration 15 seconds. Effect does not stack when hitting multiple targets with a single attack. So this does not work, easily with mobs. It does work great against single enemies. So I'm going to show you how this works. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick our little striking dummy over here. And I'm going to use Blood Spiller. And I'm going to use Quietus. And now my blood gauge is empty, right? Okay. Well, then you think, oh, great, now you guys stay there and fill it up again. Well, yeah, you do, but this makes it 10 times easier. Before, it was only building up using Soul Eater once you got through your combo. Now it's doing it for every hit. Until now. There you go, Soul Eater. So it gives you 5 stacks. Every time you use a weapon skill, it fills it up by 10. Up to 5 times. And that is very useful and very awesome. So you think about it, you have 10 for Hard Slash, 10 for Siphon Strike, and then 10 for Soul Eater plus the 10 that Soul Eater gives you. And then you do this over and over. It fills that bar up very quickly. Okay. Moving on. Alright. Next we have Shadow Wall. I use this when a heavy tank buster is going to come down on me because it absorbs a lot of damage. But however, keep in mind, this has a very long cooldown, so there may be times where you get multiple tank busters, so it may not be available, but this is one of the Dark Knight's cooldowns. Reduces damage taken by 30%, duration 15 seconds. Now you get this at level 38, which is nice. Would be nice if they gave it to us sooner, but in any case, we have it at level 38, and I'll show you what it looks like. It doesn't exactly, unless I'm in a fight where the tank buster, you don't see its effect, but I will use it so that you can see how it works. Makes a bubble around you. It's a pretty tough bubble, so yeah, that's Shadow Wall. Next, we have another Dark Knight cooldown. This one is Dark Mind. Reduces magic vulnerability by 20%. So you see the enemy is about to do a magic attack on you. You use Dark Mind, and you are somewhat protected. It's not a 100%. But it's a good one to have on your hotbar. Pretty much all of Dark Knight's abilities are great to have. I mean, I have every one on my hotbar. Of all the tanks, Dark Knight actually has very few abilities, but they are very, very effective abilities. So, you know, these are just things that are really good to have. So you could pretty much keep everything on your hotbar. And most of these things do not get replaced. In fact, I don't think Dark Knight has any that do get replaced, come to think of it. They, unlike Paladin and Warrior, there are no replacement of abilities on Dark Knight. So that's actually quite nice. Now we have at level 50. Here is your invuln. And unlike the rest of the tanks, this one is a doozy. Because if you do not get healed up to full within a certain time frame, irregardless, you will die. Living Dead grants the effect of Living Dead when HP is reduced to 0 while under the effect of Living Dead. Instead of becoming knocked out, in other words, dead on the ground, your status will change to Walking Dead. Yeah, that's not good. Anyway, Living Dead, duration 10 seconds. Additional effect. Restores HP with each weapon skill successfully delivered or spell cast. Which is nice. to kind of help get your hit points back up there. But healers, if you see Living Dead pop, you better make sure that that tank is up and running as quickly as possible. Cure potency of 1,500. While under the effect of Walking Dead, most attacks will not lower your HP below 1. If, before the Walking Dead timer runs out, an amount of HP totaling your maximum HP is restored, the effect will change to Undead Rebirth. If this amount is not restored, you will be knocked out. Healers, hey, they need to be up to full hit points, okay? Walking Dead duration 10 seconds. While under the effect of Undead Rebirth, most attacks will not lower your HP below 1. Undead Rebirth duration, time remaining on Walking Dead. So, as long as Walking Dead has got timer on it, you're good. If it doesn't, well, any other tank, if you have multiple tanks in the party, then next tank has to pick up where you left off. But Living Dead is your invuln, and like I said, this out of all 4 tanks is the most annoying because you will die if you don't get your hit points back up to full. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use that just to show you. Now, I won't die here due to the fact that my hit points are at full at the moment, so it's not going to harm me. See, it just leaves. So. Now, Salted Earth. You get this at level 52. Creates a patch of salted earth at your feet. Now, you need to make sure that wherever you're putting this is wherever you're standing, because otherwise it doesn't move. You can't like go from a distance and stick it on someone. It's at your feet, dealing unexpected damage with a potency of 50 to any enemies who enter. So action changes to salt and darkness upon execution. This has a duration of 15 seconds. This is an AoE ability. It does damage to any monster inside the bubble. So it also goes in conjunction with, where is it? Salt and Darkness. That's at level 86. That is, all enemies standing in the corrupted patch of salted earth take additional unexpected damage with a potency of 500 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. This action cannot be assigned to a hotbar. So in other words, you use salted earth, it changes to salt and darkness, and you can do much more damage. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, shall we? All right. Let's see here. Where is my... I know it's here somewhere. There it is. Now I'm going to zoom out so you can take a good look at this. Now if you'll notice, it went from Salted Earth to Salt and Darkness, so I'm going to use that. It does continual darkness. And, Nick Leo, I didn't pick up that dummy. If any of you know the joke behind Nick Leo from Tales of Arise, I've been Nick Leo'd. Okay, Nick Leo has a tendency to ignore people. But anyway, moving on. It's Tales of Hysteria, by the way, if anybody's interested in seeing the game. It is hilarious to watch him because he is just annoying. Anyway, back to our actions and traits. Alright, Next up, at level 54, we have Plunge. Here's our distance attack. This is our distance breaker. This one zooms us in. Delivers a jumping attack with a potency of 150. Maximum charges 2. Now, when you first get this, you only get 1. But as you gradually increase in level, you get it a second time. Cannot be executed while bound. So in other words, if you are bound, you cannot get out of it by using Plunge. So we're going to see how far back we can go. Okay, that's right there. About the same distance as Unmend. Now, usually you would use Unmend, but you can also, and keep in mind, if your healer is far back and you decide to do this and take on enemies, your healer might be a little angry with you. But anyway, here we go. I'm going to zoom out. And we're going to use Plunge. So, you know, that's a pretty cool move. You know. Especially when you're trying to grab aggro quickly because some DPS ran ahead and grabbed the aggro. Yeah, DPSs have a tendency to do that. So do healers. And healers need to learn to let the tanks deal with it. Next, at level 56, we have Abyssal Drain. I love this ability, especially if you ran into the dungeon, did a large pull, and didn't know that the healer wasn't able to keep up with you. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 240 to target and all enemies nearby it. Additional effect restores own HP. Cure potency of 200. Additional effect restores MP. Shares a recast timer with Carve and Spit. Now that's over here. Now that one's an attacking ability. So my recommendation is if you're doing big pulls, don't use Carve and Spit. Leave Carve and Spit alone. Make sure you always have Abyssal Drain available for large-scale pulls. So I'm going to show that right now. I'm going to go here. We'll go this enemy here. All right. And if you'll notice, that is a lot of HP come back. That's over 6,000 from each enemy. So you add that up, that's a lot. So, you know, it's definitely worth having. Definitely worth having for large pulls. Next we have Carve and Spit. Excuse me. Then we get this at level 60. Delivers a 3-fold attack with a potency of 510. This is one of the highest, shall we say, the highest damage dealing for Dark Knight. It is a very damaging attack. Additional effect restores MP. Shares a recast timer with Abyssal Drain. So, like I said, don't use this against big pulls. It's not worth it because it only hits one enemy. So you use this against bosses or single enemy attacks. So we're going to go ahead and use that. Just so you can see what it looks like. Next we have, oh, where was I? Here's one of my favorites. This is Delirium. Delirium extends the ability of Blood Spiller and Quietus. So, we have Delirium. Grants 3 stacks of Delirium. each stack allowing execution of Quitus or Blood Spiller without black blood cost, meaning without blood gauge cost. Restoring MP when landing either weapon skill. Duration 15 seconds. However, this has a 1 minute recast timer. So keep that in mind when you're using this. Now, I use this when my blood gauge is full. And if it's... most of the time, I don't even use Quitus. I leave it on my hotbar as needed, because I really don't like using it for multi-enemy hits. I usually don't get to doing it, but we're going to show that anyway. Mikleo, get your feathery butt back out here. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to use Blood Spiller for this one. There's Delirium. Now watch how many times I can get Blood Spiller out here. Before it was only 2, right? That's 2. 3. 4. 5. I can get 5 hits of Blood Spiller in where I could only get 2 before. So that makes it well worth it. And here I go and I reset the striking dummy, and I probably shouldn't have. This way I should get my blood gauge bar back, because I am pretty certain I'm going to use that again. At least if nothing else to show Quitus again, which I can now do. Because here we go with Delirium again. And here's Quitus. Remember we could only do 2? Well, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. So, there you go. And there you have it. There is... and I keep turning that on for some reason this morning. I don't know why. And I better reset this one so that Mikleo... Anyway. Okay. Boy, I am really not with it this morning. I'm terribly sorry. Next we have the Blackest Night. I love this ability. It works great for you and people around you. This is really cool, okay? This is a cooldown. This I keep on my main hotbar because this is used more often than pretty much any other cooldown that Dark Knight has. Creates a barrier around self or target party member that absorbs damage totaling 25% of target's maximum HP. Duration 7 seconds. Grants Dark Arts when the barrier is completely absorbed. Dark Arts effect consume Dark Arts instead of MP to execute Edge of Shadow or Flood of Shadow. Now we'll get to those two in a minute. But this right here, you can use this quite regularly. It has a 15-second recast timer, which is really awesome. It is a short recast timer, and true, the duration is only 7 seconds, but it is a worthwhile 7 seconds. So I'm going to use Mikleo here, and I'm going to show you that how it is with putting it on him, and then I'll put it on myself. And I didn't give you free rein to go and attack striking dummies. Stupid chicken. Anyway. Now, it's back. Very quickly. And now I put it on myself. It is a very wonderful cooldown. I have to admit. That was probably one of their smartest moves, is to give that to Dark Knight. Now, here we go with our dark arts, okay? We have Flood of Shadow. This is against multiple enemies. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 160 to all enemies in a straight line before you. Additional effect grants Dark Side, increases damage dealt by 10%. Duration is 30 seconds. Extends Dark Side duration by 30 seconds to maximum of 60 seconds. Shares a recast timer with Edge of Shadow, which is right here at level 74. You get both of them at level 74. And this is for multi-enemy attacks, right here. This is for an AoE. And if you don't know what AoE means, it's area of effect. But most people know AoE, or as we like to call them, owies. We don't want to be in the owies because they hurt. But anyway, Edge of Shadow is a single enemy hit. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 460. Additional effect grants Dark Side, increasing damage dealt by 10%. Duration, 30 seconds. Extends Dark Side duration by 30 seconds to a maximum of 60 seconds. Shares a recast timer with Flood of Shadow. So, we are going to go ahead and do Flood of Shadow. Unfortunately, this is going to take time to refill. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to do this so that you can see it's in a straight line before me. So, let's see. Can I hit all three with Flood of Shadow? Where is my Flood of Shadow? Yellow. Where did I put that? Right there. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I have to target something. Duh. This one was out of range. But you get the idea. Okay. Then you have Edge of Shadow. Single enemy hit. But, in addition, it opens up another ability. Shadow Bringer. I'm going to bring that up while that's continuing to attack. Shadowbringer is a level 90 ability. Deals unexpected damage to all enemies in a straight line before you with a potency of 600 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Maximum charge 2. Can only be executed while under the effect of Dark Side. That's this little guy right here. So we're going to redo that. Now, normally I don't do this unless I've gotten hit while having a cooldown on, because it takes an awful lot of MP. But just for this, I'm going to show you. This is Dark Side, Shadowbringer. It's a really good attack. Alright. I'm going to reset striking dummies before Mickleo actually totally destroys one. Okay. So back to our actions and traits. So, Flood of Shadow, Edge of Shadow, unlocks Shadowbringer. So, those are very important. And mind you, they light up. There is a trait that you get that makes it to where if you are hit while you have Dark Mind, Blackest Night, Rampart, Reprisal, any of your cooldowns on, it will give a chance for Edge of Shadow or Flood of Shadow to be available to use. I prefer to wait until that happens because these things eat up MP. 3,000 MP. And it will go fast. So you got to watch yourself with those. Next at level 76, we have Dark Missionary. Reduces magic damage taken by self and nearby party members by 10%. Duration 15 seconds. This is a great cooldown for you and your party members. So, we're going to show that off. Where'd you go? Okay. And now he thinks it's time to go and attack dummies again. Not entirely sure why that is. I'll have to look into that further. But anyway, that puts a bubble on you and all your nearby party members. Usually is large enough to get on everybody in your party. However, sometimes you have someone just slightly out of range and it won't do. Alright, back to our actions and traits. Now, down here, we have Living Shadow at level 80. Conjure a simulacrum, or a double of yourself, of your dark side to fight alongside you. In other words, you have this inner darkness and it becomes, you can bring it to life, supposedly. But anyway, simulacrum attack potency is 350. Duration is 20 seconds. Blood gauge cost is 50. Additional effect. Simulacrum is able to execute Shadowbringer, delivering an attack to all enemies in a straight line before it, with a potency of 500 for the first enemy and 25% less for all remaining enemies. So it's 100% less than you doing it yourself. But he will do it. Usually what I will do in a fight is if my blood gauge is full, I will use Living Shadow. Then I will use Blood Weapon, get my bar back up, so that I can use Delirium and go into Blood Spiller, Quietus, or any of the others that has to do with it. So let's go ahead and get our blood gauge back up there so that we can show you how this works. So we're going to use Blood Weapon. Alright, we have a full blood gauge. So we're now going to use Living Shadow. I'll zoom out so you can see this. And he will use different abilities. He won't use your abilities. He'll just use whatever abilities he wants to use. You will not get control of him. But he only lasts for so long, so. And he has left us. Now. Controller's acting up on me today. Next, we have another cooldown. This is Ablation. Reduces damage taken by target party member or self. Again, this is when you can stick on another party member. Duration 10 seconds. Maximum charge is 2. So, say you want to put it on a DPS, like a melee DPS, to help the healer out. And yourself. You can do that, or you can spread it out. This is just another cooldown. So I did that, and now I'm going to put it on Mikleo, which seems to make him think he can attack striking dummies again. Now, we have gone over all the abilities. These are all the abilities of Dark Knight. All of these abilities are useful. There are none that you really don't have any use for it. Quietus is the only one I would say maybe not, because you'll have a tendency to forget it's there. But every single one of these is very, very useful and very, very needed for Dark Knight. So to do the best you can. Now, computer people who play the game on the computer, it's an entirely different setup. But for console users, which I'm a console user, you can have your main hotbar, which you see there, and then you can have your secondary hotbar with all your other abilities. And like I said, these are necessary. They are very useful. And to keep in mind, you also have role abilities. These are ones I've already discussed. Rampart at level 8, Reprisal at level 22. These two are definitely needed. Low blow, after a while, you really have no use for it. You have Provoke. That is a necessity for tanks. Interject. Again, another necessity for tanks. This stops an action. This here, Arm's Length. This is nice, but again, this is a knockback. Preventative, it's not something I keep on my hotbar, but some people like to do that. Shirk, again, this is if you need a minute and you need to shirk the enmity from the tank, from the end of the enemy to another tank. That's great. Don't troll your healers or DPS by shirking to them. That's just mean and unnecessary. Well, guys, there you have it. That is Dark Knight in a nutshell. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful. If there's anything I've missed, let me know. This video will go up onto YouTube later in the day, and if you watch it on YouTube, feel free to leave me a like or subscribe. Or if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave me a message. I will get back with you. So, I hope you enjoyed, and have a good Friday.